Recording in progress.
So very good morning, everyone. And firstly, talking about Navis work. So what actually Navis work is and what it is used for. So the primary function of Revit Navis work is to have a review part as well as for the coordination purpose. So coming back to the things like what it can actually perform. So as you can see, we have multiple uh, powerful models that can be integrated together. So the very first thing that comes with Navis work is whenever you are working with the vertical designing aspects. So there might be the multiple disciplines. Those needs to be coordinated, reviewed, and holistic hosted models needs to be created, right? So at that particular part, it is particularly used for the design review processes, as well as like there are multiple things. Once you do those review processes, you might find there are a number of clashes within the model. One model is coinciding with the other model of another disciplines. So then you need to check it out, how to resolve those clashes, what are the number of uh, clashes, and then you need to track the status, whether this issue is still within the model or has been resolved so far. So in this way, it all together tracks and gives you a proper way to work with multiple disciplinary models. Okay, coming back to the part of BIM where it enables the BIM process. So a basic part of it is like once you have Revit, so there is an exporter named as Naviswork NWC exporter. So you need to install that plugin within. And once you have installed that, then you will get an option of exporting the Revit model directly from Revit to the Naviswork platform. So this is all where coordinate systems comes into play. So you should have a common shared coordinate points so that one model can overlap with the can coincide and overlap with the other model at the same end. Then you can detect what all clashes are there within the model. You can generate the clash reports out of it, and as well as you will get an ID with respect to particular elements that are prevalent in Revit modeling portions. Right. So then you can take that particular IDs, you can copy it down, paste it onto the Revit part, and you can resolve these issues depending on uh, who has made the mistake, who has done the mistake. It depends on those things, as well as needs to be prioritized, right? Like the integrated model is there, and then you need to prioritize which is a problem, what is the problem, as well as who is going to resolve that particular problem in his own models. So because it would be having separate models, like architectural discipline would have one end model, the structural would have another model, MEP guy would have another, firefighting would have other, right? So those whomsoever has made a mistake according to the holistic model, he will resolve those mistakes onto his model and will again share the NWC file to you. So in this way, the entire BIM process works, where you can easily get the information of model, what was already there in Revit, and you get that particular information of a modeling as it is in Naviswork part. So talking about where it is actually used. So as I said, the purpose of having Naviswork is to have a review and coordination purpose, as well as it is being used with the construction projects as well. So where you can simulate the things, where you can connect the thing with costing or time tracking, activity tracking actually. That's the part of simulation that comes into play. So it's a vast application which caters to three major capabilities. Like one is majorly the review part, other is for the clash detection part, and the third one is like simulations and all. So simulations, animations, all those stuffs can be done within the Naviswork platform. So it is used in varieties of industry, whether mechanical, whether architectural, whether structural. So it is also being useful with the linear infrastructures and so on, right? So these are like five basic capabilities or the most important capabilities that the Naviswork do have. So one is like design review process, clash detection, then construction simulations. You can quantify the things and you can make animations or walkthroughs around. Coming back to the product part, so Naviswork is available in three different parts. Like one is Naviswork Freedom, other is the Naviswork Simulate, and Naviswork Manage. So over here in the Freedom part, you can see you can only read the files. So that's for the basic review processes. You can just read down the files. You cannot modify it. You cannot share your drawings. It is just for the review purpose, right? So that's the part of freedom. When it's come to simulate, it has all the features except clash detection. So once you're going with simulate part, so you won't be able to do clash detection. Rest all the things are applicable and available. Similarly, when it comes to the manage, Naviswork manage, so this is actually the full version of Naviswork, which has all its capabilities with inclusion of clash detection feature. So now you can review it, you can clash detect it, you can animate it, you can simulate it. Likewise, all those features are available within manage package. And if you just remove the clash detection part, all those features are available onto the simulate part, simulate process. So coming back to the part of file formats, so what all file formats does this Naviswork has, or what does it supports basically? So talking on to the basis of AEC formats, you can see you can have a common IFC files, ArchiCAD, DXF, DWG, Revit, SketchUp. If you have all the 3D formats like DWG, you can import that DXF files, you can import that SketchUp file, you can import. So this is particularly with the architectural engineering and construction domain formats, right? When it comes to manufacturing domain, so you might have HTP files where you would be dealing with the mechanical equipments and so on. So Inventor comes into play, SolidWorks and Aegis. So all these small formats are also importable within the Naviswork platform to detect or to perform various capabilities that Naviswork has. And then it also has certain more extensions with respect to the point cloud datas. So point cloud datas are some scanning datas which are being performed using the laser scans onto the real data environment. And then a drawing, then a scanner, that scanner produces a drawing in the form of points. So point has an X, Y, and Z coordinate accordingly. So Recap is one of the Autodesk products which has been integrated with Naviswork. Similarly, the other formats, you can also see Faro is SCII, Rigil, Z plus F, and so on. So these are like point cloud scanning data. Whatsoever you receive it from laser scans or something drone sort of stuffs, those technology part. So that is also being importable within the Naviswork platform. Now talking about mainly this is most important part, like what all formats does this Naviswork has. So Naviswork has three different formats. So one is .nwc, other is .nwf, and the third one is .nwd. So .nwc is the cache file. So cache file means you are going to export .nwc format file from Revit, right? So cache is basically where you are going to work upon. These are the files where someone works upon. So if I made a changes onto my model, I would be again exporting .nwc format from the model of Revit. So this is how the model where you are making the changes down, that is .nwc, which is cache file. And when you're trying to manage the issues or your clashes, that is where .nwf comes into play. So that is Naviswork file management part. Okay. So like पहले मेरे मॉडल में 3000 मान लीजिए clashes थे. Then I have corrected it onto the model and it has been reduced to 2000. Again मैं NWC export करूंगा राइट, मॉडल में चेंजेस करने के बाद तो जो चेंजेस विजिबल होंगे दैट विल बी इन द फॉर्मेट ऑफ NWC। अब मुझे पता कैसे चलेगा कि मेरे पास 3000 क्लैशेस थे, अब मैंने कुछ रिजॉल्व किए तो वो 2000 हो गए। सो दोज ट्रैकिंग थिंग्स, राइट, कि 3000 से कितने रिड्यूस हो गए, कितने क्लोज हो गए, कितने एक्टिव हैं, कितने डिसएक्टिव हैं, लाइकवाइज वो आपको .nwf फॉर्मेट पे पता चलेगा, which is particularly for managing those particular issues or clashes within the file. And then you have the third format, which is known as .nwd. So this is the part where all the coordinated models together are shared to the vendors or the project manager, right? So who will be managing your project? All these three files for the other domains are got integrated into .nwd format, and then they're shared with the other vendors. So this is all the difference between all these three files. So how to work with the Naviswork basically. So there are two options like append and merge, as similar you might have seen in CAD. So there is option of linking and importing. So this works in the very same way. So the basic option that we use is append option. So to import a file from your local server or local system, you will be appending those files into the Naviswork platform. Okay. And so as I said, NWF is a file where we are going to manage entire uh, issues or clashes. So whatsoever is the file, like CAD file, Revit file, all those things needs to be exported in .nwc. It has to be checked in NWF, and your weekly progress can be checked throughout a coordinated model in .nwd format. So I will take you directly to the interface itself for the navigation purpose. So these are like for the navigation slides where you can walk around, you can open a third and person, you can walk around the buildings and so on. So these will be like the toolkits that you're going to nominally use it within the interface. Then there are two important things. One is like when you perform the clash detection, onto the left hand side, you might see what all sets are there and what all files are available with us. So over here onto the left, you will it will showcase all those aspects. Onto the right hand side, once you select down any of the element, it will show the properties of element onto the right hand side of it. So sets is something if you are working particularly with multiple element clashes, like अभी मैं मॉडल्स के साथ clashes करूंगा, right? Architectural will have a clash with certain other discipline, but sets वहां पे काम आते हैं जब आपको particular element to element clash करके देखना हो. For example, one category of clash within the architectural model will be walls, and other category within the structural model would be beams. So if I need to run the clashes between wall and beams all together, कि कितने clashes हैं all over the project, so then मैं इनको as a sets बना के काम करूंगा. So that is particular element versus the other element clash. So that's where the set comes into play. Viewpoint is something which is used for the review process. तो अगर आप कहीं पूरे बिल्डिंग में move on कर रहे हैं या walk through कर रहे हैं and you find there is some certain mistake or you have reviewed it using the review tools, and for example आपने just measure किया कि car parking का head height 2.75 से ज़्यादा है कि कम है. So if you found it to be 1.8, 1.5 something, so you will mark there via cloud that this is wrong and this needs to be updated within our model, right? So for that particular thing, we are going to create a viewpoint. So once anyone opens the file from his own end, so it will directly has an viewpoint within. तो वो directly viewpoint पे जाके check करेगा कि किसी ने कुछ mark किया हुआ है, likewise. So that is the entire purpose of working with viewpoints, setting up the cameras and overrides sections. Coming back to the part of clash detection, this is how clash detection works. Like you need to specify the tolerances, you need to add the test. First step is to add the test कि आप किसके बीच one all the other model of disciplines कौन से हैं. So you need to select those models, set the tolerance limit, and then you can get the clash report as well, number of clashes, and you can export the clash report in .html format. Right. So now basically I will be taking you to the interface directly. So this is like the Naviswork platform. Okay, and over here I have two different options. One is for opening down the files and other is for the new. So just I'm going on to the new file. I'm not opening any of the files for now. I have just opened in file. Okay, and I'm closing any all other stuffs over here. So under the home tab, you can see there is the option of append. As I said, we basically use the option of appending. So I will just click on to the append option and it will ask me which files you need to append, right? So I'm going on to my text downloads and I will search for .nwc files. So these are the models basically which were there in with the part of your Revit model. So these are being exported from the Revit data. It's not showcasing, just a second. So I have to select .nwc, very sorry. Yeah, so now I have these files with me, which is HVAC. One is the HVAC domain and other is the architectural domain. So I'm going to append both these files together, right? So now you can see the model has been appended over here. So one was the architectural model and the other is the HVAC model within, right? So the first step to make them overlap one above the other is to have a common shared coordinate between both of the files. If you have other shared coordinates, it might come somewhere else. The file might come somewhere else, and then you need to manually place them one over the other. So that's not recommendable. Would the basic part of it is like you should have a same coordinate system between both of the files, those to whom you are going to link together. Right, so this is like model. Now, if I just move on to these particular aspects, so under the home tab itself, you might find the option of clash detection. So this is what we are going to perform. But before this, how to review it, I would showcase those things as well. So there is the part of viewpoints. So whenever you are going to mark something, sorry. So you are going to save it as a viewpoint. So this is the option where you will be saving that particular camera. So once anyone opens this file, he will be directly going on to the viewport and will be opening that file accordingly, right? There are like review tools. So once you go with the walkthrough options, then you can measure the things, you can draw the things, you can mark out the things, and likewise. So this is as it is been specified by review. So whenever you are going to check something while walking, so you would be going on to review tab for review purposes. Okay, simple. Coming back to the animation, this is something else. And for here, I would be going on to the options of viewpoints. So here is something where we are going to mark our member and can create a walkthrough around or can walk around the model. Okay, so I'm going nearby the surface. So now I think I am near to the surface somehow. And I will open this third person from here. So once I open this, so you can see common human figure appears over here. Now I need to bring it onto the surface. It's still in the air. So for that, while walking, I will choose the walk path and I will open the collision and gravity option. So once I choose the gravity option on, and now if I bring the model, now you can see it has picked the surface, right? So now I can walk around the buildings for the review purpose, right? So if you can see around, right, you can measure the things around likewise. So this is where the review tools comes into play. So suppose I need to just check whether this elevated parking has a correct clear height or not, clear head height or not. So what I can do is I can go now onto the review process because I need to review it, right? So while review, I will go to point measurement and I need to have Z axis for measuring it. So once I choose this till this particular point, so this is almost around 1.8 meters. So if you find this is okay, that's fine. But if you doesn't find it okay, like you can draw this particular mark point, you can write the text around, right? So I'm right. So this is acting as a markup. Mm, so this will be like, please correct head height in model. And you can also specify to whom you are trying to give this particular uh, duty. Who is going to correct this head height? You should also mark that person accordingly. At a rate, you can name that person, right? So, in order to come out of the command, you need to go on to select option. So this is how a markup has been created within a particular save point. So once anyone comes to this particular view under the save viewpoints, so it will automatically direct him here, as I have done over here under the Naviswork edge, under the saved viewports, I have the option of view. Similarly, if I am going to create something other, so other view is going to be created over here under the dialog box, right? So again, I'm going to move across the building. So this is how the review tools comes into play. Again, I need to walk. If I need to move inside of the building and go over here. So now it is hindering me to enter to the other surface. That means there is something which is colliding, right? So again, I need to turn on the collision. So now it takes me in and off throughout the entire section. Now I can easily walk around the building and can see what are the clashes there. Suppose this duct is crossing the particular wall section over here. So I am knowing that this is wrong, right? So this is how you can review it. You can check the overall, again, the floor to floor finish height. So again, I need to check something. I have logged it into the Z axis. That will just pick the height part, right? So this is 3.3, which is okay to me. And I can walk around further. Mm. This is because this is going inside of it. So I need to turn on the gravity and I need to bring this person above. Right, so in this way, you can walk around the building, you can review the building across, and so on. This is not going to have. So now it won't crouch. And then so this is how you can go and work with the things accordingly. So there are certain purposes, like now crouch is not active and crouch is active, all those stuffs. Hmm. Right. You can view the upper buildings as well. You can check out the depth. Here to yes, it's 1.458 meters. And then for coming out of the command, select option. Simple. So this is how the entire review process works. Then you can take it back accordingly. And I'm just switching it off. So this is all with respect to the review part, where you can walk around the entire campus and internal structures as well. Now we are going to perform clash detection part. So under the viewport, I would off this third person, and under the home, I have the option of clash detection. So as soon as I click onto the clash detection option, you can see there were two models that we have imported. One was like architectural model, other was HVAC. So I am going to select down the model. For this, first thing was to add down the test. So as soon as I added the test, so I'm specifying its name, architectural versus HVAC, right? So this is the test that we are going to run. So that's between the complete model. So right now I'm not moving on to those particular sets and assets, but this is particularly with respect to the particular full model. I'm going to select architecture model and I'm going to select HVAC model, right? So one end at the section A, I have choose the architectural model, other end, I have chosen the HVAC model. Now I have to set the hard clashes. So mostly we have to pick up the hard clashes, because whatsoever is the hard element that is going to clash within the model, we need to detect that part. So this is one, and other is tolerance. So tolerance is something below 0.01 meter. Anything below this will not be considered as a clash within model. So this is like you are setting up the tolerance limit, and anything beyond 0.01, for example, duct is clashing with the wall with a range of 0.05. So it will consider it as a clash. But if it is 0.005 meters, it is not going to consider it as a clash. Simple. So this is what the tolerance limit is. Okay. And then I'm simply going to run the test. So once I do that, you can see, so all those components are there, and you can also demo this. So this was the entire model, which is in wireframe mode. And these are the components where clashes are appearing. So now you can see at the top end point, a report is there. Like under these two models, there are 6,648 clashes, and these are new. There are no active clashes reviewed, approved, or resolved. So all these things that are going to be managed are within the .nwf file. And right now we are working on .nwc file. So this is the workflow, right? So again, if I'm going to make changes onto my Revit model, again, I'm going to export .nwc file and I'm going to bring that file again here. So a triangle would appear over here as a limitation part. Once you click it, it asks you for the updation of process. So once you update that, you will get to know prior to that, you need to save this file as a .nwf file. So right now, I'm working on NWF file, but NWC files are imported within the NWF format. So now I'm going to save this model as NWF file. Sorry, I will just make Control S. So once you do that, now you can see there is this NWF. So I will save this particular file where I have taken the clashes between two of the models as .nwf format. I will save this. And once I save this, I will go on to Revit model. I will again make the changes onto the model. Will again export .nwc. Once you export the same NWC file with the same name, it will automatically give you a mark that certain changes are made onto the NWC format. That means you are linking two of the formats .nwc and .nwf, and you can update all those aspects directly. So once you do that, this is the file where you're going to manage how many clashes has been resolved or are active or been approved or resolved likewise. So this was the entire process working with Navisworks. So as soon as you can see, I have chosen the third clash. So it takes me the into the elements directly. So this is the room. So prior exporting the NWC file from Revit, you need to have certain settings that needs to be checked on and off accordingly, क्योंकि नहीं तो वो इसी तरह से पूरा रूम लेने लगेगा, राइट? बट ये लेना क्या चाहिए था, वॉल्स विद डक्ट्स, कुछ इस तरह से। तो ये चार एलिमेंट मिलके एक सिंगल एंटाइटी बन गई है। सो दिस इज द मिस्टेक ओवर द मॉडल, जब एक्सपोर्ट किया गया है तो प्रॉपरली नहीं किया गया है। So there are certain options of geometry that needs to be checked on and off accordingly. सो हाँ, आपको अब रिजॉल्व करने का प्रोसेस क्या है? सो वंस आई चूज दिस, सो आई एम हैविंग एन पार्ट ऑफ प्रॉपर्टीज ओवर हियर. So you can see I have this element with a basic wall. So I know this belongs to an architectural element, architectural discipline, and I can move on to the element ID. So once I move on to the element ID, you can see the value of ID. I will right click on it, copy the value down. I will move back onto Revit portion. Under the view tab, manage tab, sorry, I have this option of select ID. Right over here, I'm going to paste that ID particularly under which my model was there. So it will take you directly onto that particular element, and there you need to resolve based on the priorities you are setting. So this is all the process with respect to Naviswork. Over to you, Darshan.
Thank you, Anurag. It was such a knowledgeable session by you. So next, I'm going to continue with one of our Arcan's IP. We usually call it as Polixati per hour. So let me share my
So
screen.
1 second, Darshan. So
Yeah.
anyone, if is having any of the doubts within this Naviswork portion can ask. We'll take 5 to 10 minutes of break so that you can practice. Then we'll begin our session from T4R.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if there are no questions, we'll wait for five. We'll take a break of 5 to 10 minutes session. Then you can continue, right?
Okay. So we will begin second session at 11.
11, correct.
Hi everyone. So let's start the second session of today's webinar. So welcome you all once again. Myself Darshan, who is taking you through today's second session. So we are going to discuss on one of our IP. We usually call it as Holixa T for R. So we will see one by one what are the contents or what are the tools we have in that particular plugin. Okay. So this is our today's content. We are going to see its introductions, how many types of versions are available, what are the tool sets, and what are the tools available within that tool sets, what will the benefit, what is the value addition we are going to get, and yeah, I'm going to take you through the live demonstration of that particular T for R plugin. Okay, if you have any doubts at any moment, let me know so we can clear it out on that particular time itself. Okay. So introduction. So T for R means tool for Revit. We usually call it as. So the full name is Polixa T for R. So T for R stands for tool for Revit. So it is a collection of tools which is going to reduce the designer's workload and extend the power of Autodesk Revit software. So usually what Revit does is that it does not allow to do the mistakes or the errors. For that, it is going to enhance. T for R, again, it is going to enhance those all things. So it does not allow us to do the errors. Okay, then who all can use that particular tool? So the whoever loves to work on Revit, they may be architects, engineers, designers, or any. And these are our versions. We have total two versions in T4R. One is bronze and another one is silver toolsets. So Holixa T4R is in that we have a design management tools. So for that, we usually call it as a bronze tool set. It is going to help us to automate repetitive tasks in few simple clicks. And the second version is it is silver tool sets, which include design management tools plus productivity tools. And it is going to save time while creating objects, families, and valuable informations. Okay. And these are the few questions which we got from our customers while we are surveying doing the survey of how what are the types of challenges they faces. So according to those all questions and all, so we came up with this particular T for our plugin for our Revit. So this is our bronze tool set. Let me show you. Yeah, this is our silver tool set. So can you see any difference between these tool sets? So whatever the grayed out color are there in bronze tool set, those all are in inactive state, which are not able to use. And in when we move from bronze to silver, we all have all in inactive state, means all are in not in grayed out color. So these are the tools which are available within these tool sets. So in bronze tool set, we have few of them are in active, and in silver tool sets, almost all are in active state. Okay. So what will the benefits if we use this particular T for our day-to-day usage? So it is going to save time when searching. So it acts as an monitor, or we can tell it a keep an overview of all valuable content and data in the project. Minimize time on repetitive tasks. Consistent design. It helps us to have a consistent design and going to decreases the design errors, and it is going to optimize our work routines. And what will be the value addition? So value addition will be saving time and money. So we know that time is equal to money. So if we save a time on particular project while decreasing its design error and spending where we are going to reduce time on repetitive tasks. So at then we are going to save a lot of money and improving project quality, and it is going to enhance collaboration and communication between the teams, and at the end it is going to give us a valuable insights of that particular project. So let me take you through the live demonstration. So let me jump into software. Now, So as soon as we install this particular plugin, it will come and get it with our tool palettes. So as we can see over here, so these are our tool palettes: architecture, structure, steel, precast. So with this particular tool tab, it is going to be get added as it is going to be get added as T for R. Okay, so let me start. So I'm going to click on this particular T for R tool tab, and you can see over here. So these are all the tools which we can access, and these all tools will be fully accessible in our silver tool set. Okay, so let me start with the first tool. So we usually call it as a job time tracker. Okay, so let me start it. What it does is that as soon as I turn it on, so I'm going to do few of the modifications with respect to this particular project. Okay, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add dimension. Then what I'll be going to do next is that I'm going to turn it off. Then I'm going to get a report. So in the form of setup. So I'm going to click on setup too. So as you can see it over here. So we got a report in the form of a tabular format. So in this we can get its start time, how much time it has consumed to do this particular task, and how many operations I have done, by whom, and where this particular file got saved. So on today's date on 18/10/24 at 11:06 a.m. So I almost all took 24 seconds to complete two tasks. So what are those two tasks? So I have added two dimensions to my uh, grid lines. Okay, so this particular job time tracker setup is there, which cannot be manipulated. Okay, so we cannot do any modifications with respect to these things. So and at the end we can and we can export this particular report to Excel format. So I will click on this particular. So we can export it to our Excel sheet also. So like this is how it allows us to track this particular operations done by the users. So why we can, what is the help of this particular job time tracker? So we can come to know that whether the particular user is facing any challenges to operate the tools or not. Is he required any trainings or any skill enhancement? So by this we can come to know that whether he is in requirement of any skill enhancements or not, and we can come to know that how much time he is taking to complete this particular task. And next one is our level manager. Okay, so when we start a project, it is necessary to add levels, and when it comes to Revit, so we should add each and every level by manual process. Okay, if I want to add any levels, so I have to go to any of my elevations. So in elevations, I have to add levels, the help of this particular tool, level or pickle line. So like this, we used to add a particular levels. Okay, but when it comes to T for R, we have a tool called Level Manager. So it allows us to add multiple levels at single click. Okay, so you can see it over here. This is our Level Manager dialog box. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to add few more levels to this particular project. Okay, so what will be my offset? So starting elevation should be 4 and level offset. So this is my oh, this is the offset should be 1800. Yeah, 18,000, sorry. And I'm going to create how many levels I want. Let me create 4. Okay. Oh, so as soon as I click on create, it is going to